If you viewed the garden residences in Serangoon but haven't committed yet, then this video is for you. You've seen the units and now you're comparing them to Affinity or maybe even the newer launches. And today we are not going to be doing the typical home tour, we will be dissecting the garden residences and whether it holds up to its competition in the area. We are however going to be comparing specifically 2-bedroom unit types. Why? Because I have a 2+ study unit listing here and have done the homework. So thought I'll just share it with you guys in the form of a hybrid home tour. And also because doing a traditional house tour seems to be getting a bit saturated and boring, you don't need me to show you that this 2-bedroom unit has something like a
sizable kitchen or a luxurious master bedroom
or breathtaking views. No, we don't need all that anymore. So I thought it might be more interesting to break down the facts and figures for people looking in the area and perhaps grant you some insights before you make your decision. While I would like to say that this is an unbiased review of the garden residences, I will have to put up the disclaimer again. I am selling a unit here, a 2+ study unit at 689 square feet. So yes, I will be as impartial as possible, giving you guys my unbiased opinion of it. And so for today, we will be going through number 1, a quick overview of the development, number 2, the master plan in the area, number 3, specific unit type analysis, and in this case, the 2+ study because of my listing, number 4, the competition within and without, number 5, surrounding amenities, number 6, the unique selling point of this development and the people who would love it versus the people who would hate it, and number 7, how to exit this development as a new buyer here today. And so as an overview, the garden residences was a joint venture between Keppel and Wing Tai. The launch was somewhere in 2018, but more importantly, it obtained TOP in 2021. The development has 613 units and consists of 5 blocks, 15 stories high. It's about 185,000 square feet in land size, and that's decent, allowing them to have full condo facilities with a tennis court. It has 1 to 5 bedroom type units, and the spread does seem decent. As you can see, 20+% for 1, 2 and 3 bedroom types, and 4 bedrooms at 13%, and 5 bedrooms, the rarest of them all, with just 27 units. The 2-bedroom units in the garden residences consist of 2-bed 1-bath and the 2+ study units. There isn't the 2-bed 2-bath variant in this development, and this development is owned by a good majority of Singaporeans, like most of the OCR and RCR properties anyway. Very likely mostly owned stay rather than tenanted out, based on the 96 rental contracts in the past 1 year and 137 rental contracts in the past 2 years, assuming that some of them are rental renewal transactions. And so now for the master plan, the garden residences is located in a low density housing estate, the Serangoon Gardens Landed Enclave, with Kensington Park directly opposite it. The land plots ratio is 2.5, which is higher than Kensington Park but lower than the surrounding plots. Don't be alarmed, this usually matters only if you're going for an enbloc and if the developers take this into consideration. But as a relatively new resale unit, this wouldn't affect you. The empty plot in front of us and beside us is zoned as residential, but no upcoming news of these land plot sales yet. And to be fair, if you look at it, it looks like quite a small plot, so it doesn't really look like enough space for a fully fledged residential condo anyway. But perhaps this land will be useful if Kensington Park on blocks and the developer puts in a request to combine the land. And although we see HDB blocks directly opposite, it is quite a distance from the condo itself, and since the development is tilted, you won't be directly facing the flats. And what's interesting here is that this green patch over here is not a garden or nature, but rather Serangoon Country Club. This estate really knows how to live it up. And moving further down, you get the famous Chom Chom and the Serangoon Garden Circus with plenty of food options. I don't know about you, but growing up, I've always thought that people who lived in Serangoon Gardens were atas people, and the air and the life and the vibes was always different. We were all living different lives compared to them. Now looking at the site plan, units facing south will face the landed enclave, which likely yielded them a higher premium when selling it on the resale market. And the majority of the units have their own form of unblocked views, with the exception of these units here. You have a 75-meter pool, other smaller pools like the jacuzzi, kids pool, wading pool, a clubhouse with function rooms, karaoke room and a gym. And yes, there is a tennis court thanks to the land size and developer planning. And the entire condo is just littered with plenty of chill out areas here and there. But the defining factor for these facilities would actually be the 24-hour gym, which is not common in most condos. And so if you're considering 2+ study unit types, you will have 3 options to choose from. Cluster 1, which is stack 44 and 37, which is probably the most sought after because of out the unblocked views of the empty plot of land just in front of us. Cluster 2, which is Stack 24 and 17, which also has unblocked views, but facing the HDB estate and also beside Serangoon North Avenue 1, which isn't a busy road at all, so you don't really get a lot of road noise from there. And then we have the third cluster, Stack 29 and 36, which faces Block 1, but thankfully it's angled so you don't directly face your neighbors. And the unit I'm selling is at Cluster 1, so we do get unblocked views of the empty land plot. And now let's take a look at the layout. At 689 square feet, this isn't just your typical 2-bedroom, it can be a strategic pivot in today's market. My seller left a wall in this place to keep a dedicated study, but for the next buyer, you have the maximizer option. And you can do this by removing the wall and creating a master suite that rivals most bigger unit types even in the RCR or CCR region. In a market where 2-bed 1-bath units are struggling with exit liquidity, having 2 full ensuite bedrooms and a dumbbell layout is your unfair advantage in the market today. And also it's a dumbbell unit, so space-wise it's more efficient compared to the usual 2-bedroom layouts with the walkway to the rooms. And we will be looking at an example of this later. But I think what stands out more in this floor plan is that your kitchen gets a corner on its own with a glass wall encasing it. While competitors at this price point forces a what I call galley kitchen into your living room, this layout creates a clear distinction between the two zones, leaving more space for your living and dining. But in this floor plan, you can clearly see that you have a dedicated dining space and a living room. And since this is a relatively new under 5 years old development, you don't have to do major renovations. And as for the condition of the unit I'm selling, even if I tell you that the condition is impeccable and that my photographer actually claimed that this feels like a show flat unit, you also won't believe me, right? So come down and assess it for yourself. The direct competition for this unit is the other 2-bedroom unit at 614 square feet. Direct because it is in the similar price range, but layout wise, side by side, you can definitely see the difference between the 2-bedroom dumbbell unit type and the conventional 2-bedroom unit. The 614 square feet unit has a longer wall in the living room, which also means you don't get the dedicated dining area. As for the 689 square feet unit, you can carve out a very nice dining area if you interior style it right, like what my seller did. The next obvious difference is the smaller unit only has 1 bathroom. If you are single and planning not to have kids, it's fine, but some couples would prefer to have 2 bathrooms to reduce the number of potential arguments. Families with just 1 kid, if you really love this estate and are on a 1.3 to 1.4 million budget, you should definitely go for the 2+ study, because maybe it's just me, but I have this 2:1 human to toilet ratio that I try to match for the place I'm staying in, and I think that provides the maximum comfort for all occupants within the same house. And finally, obviously the 2+ study gives you the flexibility to enlarge the rooms, meaning that you can have 2 ensuite bedrooms in the house. Even though the size difference between these unit types is just 75 square feet, you can see how big of a difference between these 2 unit types. And this is why we usually say that dumbbell units are often more space efficient. But the developers are also smart. A good majority of these 614 square feet units are facing towards the south, the landed enclave, which means that you get a really nice view. But all of these 689 square feet unit types, which are the 2+ studies, are all facing towards the north, which means that yes, the majority of us get a decent view, but the middle stack gets blocked. But it 100% looks like the developer wanted you to choose between a nice view with a smaller layout or a decent view with a bigger layout. And the indirect competition to this unit type is the 2+ study units in Affinity. However, Affinity unit types are bigger at 732 square feet and 753 square feet, so their price range would definitely be higher than garden residences. And this layout is the example of the galley kitchen bleeding into your living room space. This study, especially the 753 square feet, is not in an optimal location. At least for the 732 square feet, you can convert the study into a dining area. However, I must say that both master bedrooms, especially the 753 square feet one, is really huge comparatively to any new launches out there. So if you are willing to pay a potential $50,000 to $100,000 more to have a bigger master bedroom, then yes, Affinity might be a better alternative for you. Which is why when it comes to layout comparison and choosing a unit in your area, it's important to put both floor plans side by side and ask yourself objectively, how are we going to make use of a certain space? And now let's look at a bit of data. Let's start with the average PSF since the launch of garden residences. It seems like you paid a higher price at launch comparatively to those who bought it in post-launch, but even then, you would still gain almost 13% in today's prices, while people who bought in lower would be able to gain 19% in today's prices. It's good that we don't have a very wide range of prices that people originally bought at, so we won't get very volatile price movements. And now let's take a look if we put on the 2-bedroom average PSF overlay. And as you can see, it moves in tandem with the development's average PSF over the years, and in some cases above the median average PSF for the entire development. Based on this, it seems like no one is really cashing out because of desperation in this estate, and it says here a total of 809 units have been sold since launch. After we deduct the 613 transactions which was bought directly from the developer, it means that a total of 196 units have transacted as resale in the past 4 years, averaging to 49 units a year or 4 units a month. But looking deeper at the data, it shows that majority of the units was transacted in 2024 and 2025, a total of 148 units in those 2 years. And so we are not seeing desperate sales. The volume that you see in 2024 and 2025 is simply the natural exit of the 2020 or 2021 buyers whose SSD finally expired. This creates a healthy stabilized secondary market where prices are moving in tandem with the development's organic 13 to 19% growth. And specifically for the 2 bedrooms and 2+ study units, we've had 243 units transacted since launch. After deducting the 181 units from the developer, it means that 62 units were resale transactions. 62 transactions form 31.6% of overall transactions in the past 4 years, reflecting the right amount of demand for the unit spread in this development. So this shows that there is a healthy demand for such units in the area, and a fair projection of growth would likely be 2 to 3% a year for the years to come. Just as a comparison, let's take a look at Affinity's average PSF versus garden residences. And surprisingly enough, both condos are moving in tandem. Why surprising? Because Affinity was once touted as the better alternative to garden residences because it was nearer or walkable to Serangoon North MRT depending on who you ask. It also definitely had better transportation options, seeing that there is a bus stop right outside Affinity. But because it's such a huge development with 1052 units, there might have been a bit of a saturation point where too many people were rushing to flip upon TOP, and that caused the average PSF to suffer. Or maybe people who live in this estate just prefer lower density developments, like how garden residences and its surrounding is like. So don't worry, garden residences isn't losing out to Affinity in terms of growth and demand, and it has its own unique charm and audience. Amenity wise though, I'll be frank, because garden residences is in a landed enclave, expect longer walks to any form of transportation. You can't have a quiet neighborhood and also expect a bus stop or a train station right outside of it. But the point is, quiet neighborhoods usually take a hit on accessibility. The best selling amenity here is Chom Chom and the Serangoon Gardens area. It features famous places like Arcade Eating House, plenty of bars and restaurants to choose from, and even a small mall called My Village. And if you're into country clubs, then this one is for you because you can get there within a quick drive before your car engine is even fully heated up. For schools, we have Rosyth, which is top 20 I think in Singapore, and Zhonghua Primary, which is definitely after 20, but I have no idea what number it is. And now for the unique selling point of garden residences. Number 1, garden residences is the only newish condo in this low density estate, meaning if you love the neighborhood a lot and can't afford a landed property yet, then garden residences would be your thing. Number 2, within 1 km of Rosyth. While this might sound like a bit of a future planning for some of you, being within 1 km of a good school definitely helps with demand and selling your unit in the future. Number 3, the future MRT line, Serangoon North. Yes, it's not right outside your condo, but at least now you have an alternative MRT to go to rather than just relying on Serangoon Station at next. Number 4, lifestyle. Not many people can walk to Chom Chom and walk back home after eating or simply having a nice stroll in this quiet neighborhood. And also, this is perhaps one of the rarer full condo facilities in the RCR and OCR region that is also nestled within a landed enclave. And of course, if you're planning to be a member at a country club, then you will be in close proximity to to this one. And now for the people who would love this development. Number 1, the legacy parent who put top priority on their child entering a good school in an affordable neighborhood. Number 2, the filial child who grew up in this estate and would want to stay near their parents but need their own space. And number 3, the exclusive people who appreciate a low density environment and a quiet peaceful neighborhood to return to every day. Number 4, the lifestyle enjoyer, the one that loves chom chom and the Serangoon garden vibes at a price that doesn't require you to sell any body parts. And then on the other hand, we have the people who hate it. Number 1, the die-hard MRT fan, the one that needs transportation and is non-negotiable. Number 2, the investor looking solely at rental yields. There are definitely better options at this price point and better situated areas like beside transportation. Affinity might actually be a better alternative for these people. And number 3, what we call the maximizer, looking at either 2 or 3 bedrooms and nothing in between. This is bigger than the typical 2 bedroom and they may be looking to upsize to 3 bedroom instead. And today, if you are going to be buying into garden residences, you will have 2 points to consider exiting at. 1, at 2030 when Serangoon North Cross Island line completes and brings more connectivity to the area. The other would be, wait, hear me out first, the enbloc of Kensington Park Condo. And if you think this point is not valid, just 3 years ago, they've attempted to enbloc at $1,144, which didn't get a response. But in today's market, when land prices are soaring, you never know when a developer might just pick them up. After the enbloc, the new developer would then launch their sales, and if that condo was selling at 2,400 PSF as an example, you will definitely see some growth in the garden residences. And if all else fails, being within 1 km of a top 20 school like Rosyth isn't just about your child today, it's about your next buyer's child years from now when they buy the house from you. The 1 km status creates a price floor because even in a slower market, parents will definitely pay a premium for entry-level legacy education. If you viewed garden residences but the numbers still don't sit right with you, don't leave your next move to guesswork. If you found this video useful, subscribe to the channel to receive more updates and analysis for condos. I've also prepared a brochure for this development and specifically for my unit type. DM me garden at 96971000 and I'll send you the document. I will also be leaving my listing at the description below. I'm ASAP and I will see you in the next video.